Welcome to
Portal to the Past!
We are Olivia,
Lou,
and Audrey,
and this is our podcast discovering history
through the eyes of Luna the alien,
Hazel the portal ghost,
and the trusty guide, Sisi.
Pilot disappearances, ocean. How does someone just vanish?
Perhaps they became mysteries.
Hazel, you need to stop doing that.
I've tried. It ruins the dramatic effect. Who are we stepping toward today?
Her name is Amelia Earhart.
That is a good story. She lived boldly, failed often, and refused to stay grounded in a world that expected her to.
Ooh, I like her already.
The rules still stand.
Don't change anything. Don't stand out. And be back before dinner.
You're learning quick. Say her name.
Amelia Earhart.
United States, early 1900s.
It feels very calm.
This is Hans.
At the beginning of the 1900s,
A time when girls were expected to be careful.
quiet and proper.
Adventures was not something encouraged.
Especially not for them.
What's that sound? Did someone just...
Oh no.
She built it herself,
A wooden ramp making a homemade roller coaster.
and she didn't write it so carefully.
She wrote it
Head first?
Yep, and she crashed a bunch. But she stood right up afterward, shaken, bruised, and thrilled.
Relatable. That didn't stop her though, did it?
No!
And that's the important part.
She failed and continued.
She was very good at that. You'll see. Throughout her life, Amelia faced many failures.
Plans went wrong, flights became too dangerous,
And many people doubted her,
but she did not let failure decide
who she could become.
So crashing never meant stopping.
exactly.
Okay, we must have moved up the timeline. This feels very serious.
It is. The world was at war. And for the first time, many women stepped into roles they had never been allowed to have before. They became nurses, aides, and workers of many roles. They helped hold society together. At 20, Amelia came to Toronto just to visit her sister. But after seeing wounded soldiers from the Great War, she couldn't leave. She stayed for a year, trading her fancy life for a mop and nurse's cap at Spadina Military Hospital.
Between scrubbing floors and caring for the injured, she saw a stunt plane at the CNE.
What was that?
That is the future calling her.
One pilot even flew low over her.
Did she run?
You really need to ask. She stood still and watched,
That was the moment she stopped wondering.
and started becoming.
While the crowd scrambled and ducked, Amelia didn't flinch. She stood her ground as the engine roared overhead, and right then, she knew that little red plane was calling her name.
Flying was not easy to enter. It was expensive, dangerous, and dominated by men who did not believe women belonged in the sky.
So, how did she even start?
She worked many jobs: photographer, clerk, even driving trucks. She saved everything she could.
With her mom's help, she bought her first airplane a short time after. A very small, bright yellow one. She called it the Canary.
Wait, didn't she have a yellow scarf too?
Yes!
A long, bright yellow scarf trailed behind her as she flew.
Like a comet tail across the sky.
She said it reminded her that even when the clouds were rough, she had something bright to guide her.
And it got caught in the wind more than once, but she didn't care. The scarf flew with her courage.
Training wasn't exactly a walk in a park.
It was more like a bumpy ride through a cabbage patch.
Literally. One time, Amelia misjudged her landing and crashed into a bright yellow plane right into a field of cabbages. Instead of quitting, she just climbed out, dusted off her flight suit, and checked her hair.
She struggled with landings, bouncing her plane across uneven fields like a giant rubber ball. There were moments she almost gave up because flying was so expensive. It cost $1 for just 1 minute in the air.
That's equivalent to about $18 a minute now.
People told her the cockpit was no place for a lady, but she knew the sky belongs to anyone brave enough to chase it.
She almost gave up?
Yep, and more than once. But she returned again and again.
She kept choosing the sky.
Before her most famous flight, she prepared for nearly a year, studying weather patterns, practicing navigation, building endurance, because crossing the Atlantic Ocean alone was not just brave.
It was dangerous.
And she still did it?
Of course. She lived for this. In 1932, she flew alone across the Atlantic.
Through storms, ice, darkness, and fear.
The plane shook violently. Equipment failed.
Conditions were far worse than expected.
Did she think she wouldn't make it?
Yeah.
But she just had to keep flying. She landed not in Paris, but in a field in Ireland. She became immensely famous. But she did not stop there.
She gave speeches. She designed clothing that was practical and comfortable,
challenging the idea that women must dress only for appearance. Parachute silk, functional fashion.
Sounds like she made changes, not just in flying.
Yes, she changed expectations.
In 1937, she attempted something even greater.
To fly around the world. With her navigator, Fred Noonan.
That's huge!
It was one of the longest and most difficult journeys that ever attempted by air. As they approached a small island in the Pacific, their radio signals grew weak.
What did she say?
She reported low fuel.
And then she was gone?
Ships crossed the ocean, but no clear answer was ever found. Over time, several theories did emerge.
Okay, like what?
Some believed the plane ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. Others think she may have been captured after landing somewhere unknown. But one theory continued to draw attention.
Ooh, yes. Mikuma Roro, a small remote island.
Over the years, investigators found objects there.
A shoe matching her size, a navigation tool, a jar of freckled cream she was known to use.
That's a lot.
In 1940, human bones were discovered too.
Decades later, modern analysis suggested they closely matched Amelia's height and build.
But not all the bones were there.
Why?
The island is home to large coconut crabs, creatures strong enough to carry objects and gather remains.
It is possible she survived the landing, but not the island. Time calls us back.
Amelia Earhart failed many times. She crashed. She struggled. She almost quit. But she kept going. She lived in a time when women were told to stay small. And she chose something bigger.
Not all stories have endings.
But they still have a meaning.
Some histories are just mysteries.
Step through the portal
To the past! Thanks for traveling through time with us on Portal to the Past. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you don't miss our next journey into history. And if you enjoyed the episode, tell a friend or leave a comment. Until our next journey through time.